Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, Aiden, from Cartoon Apocalypse, and welcome back to another episode of Leak Buster. Now, I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments saying this is fake, and yes, of course, this series is called Leak Buster. I am busting the leaks, so obviously this image is fake. Now, before we hop into this video, I did want to mention that this video is sponsored by GAOMON. They sent me over one of their tablets and asked me to review it for this video, and so basically at the end of this video I'm going to be going through all of the tablet stuff, so if you are interested please stay to the end, but I'm going to be using the tablet that they sent me to recreate this leak later on in the video, so I think you'll see it's pretty good. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the leak in question. So this is the leak here. We can see three main components here, and you might be thinking, well, aren't there two? There's the two different handsets. There's obviously the Queen Bee handset, and then there's the Gabriel hand. But yeah, you'll see here why that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But obviously we can tell immediately that this is fake because the outline, first of all, on Gabriel's hand is very defined. You can tell that definitely has had a little bit of rotoscoping and taking out of an image, so you know that that's not there. And then if we actually zoom in on the Peacock Miraculous, you can see that the outline of that is also very rough. So it's safe to assume that the Peacock Miraculous was actually added in there as well. So that's why I said that there are three components instead of just two. Now the Bee Miraculous on what we can assume is Chloe's hand looks pretty real, so my guess is that the hand, the Bee Miraculous, as well as the background, because as you can tell, the hand on Chloe's, presumably, hand is actually pretty seamless. It actually looks like it's a part of the footage other than Gabriel's hand, which is just, you can clearly tell that they took it out of something else. So I think that's enough background. Let's go ahead and hop right into Photoshop and try to recreate this leak. Okay, so I'm just gonna start by dragging in my image here, and we'll scale it up maybe just a little bit to make it fit a little bit better. So as you can see here, yep, this Peacock Miraculous was definitely put in here after the fact, and then Gabriel's hand is just, it looks very rough, so that's obviously a fake. Now, obviously, like all the other previous Leak Buster videos, I have the screenshots, and I can tell you for fact that this is indeed a fake leak. So let's first start with the easiest thing to find regarding this leak. So I have this image here, and whoa, would you look at that? It's the background image for Chloe's hand. And you can see that this is Chloe's shoes, so we know for a fact it's Chloe. So I'm actually just gonna put this up against it. So I'm gonna lower the opacity a little bit, and then we're gonna have to scale it up. Now they might have, the creator of this leak, whoever it is, may have found a slightly different screenshot as far as like the millisecond. So the posture might be a little bit different, but typically it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. There's a little bit of overlap, and that's probably just because I stopped at a millisecond difference from what the other people stopped at. So if we actually turn up the opacity a little bit, yeah, okay, so it looks like that their image is warped a little bit too, but we're just gonna keep my image because it looks better. Now, next thing I found was the Peacock Miraculous, because I knew that this was separate, because we have never seen Gabriel hold the Peacock Miraculous, I don't think, as far as this design. We've seen him hold the other version, but not this camouflaged version. So there were a couple different possibilities for what frame this Peacock Miraculous is, and I'm very particular, so I want to find the exact image that they used. So this was my first option, and you could see, I mean, yeah, here's the Peacock Miraculous. And if we actually go ahead and I'm just gonna remove this real quick. That way we can actually see what's going on better. So I was like, okay, well this one could fit, but the problem is here, this one's different. See, this one has black lines, this one has the greener lines. So I knew that they did not take this Peacock Miraculous from this screenshot. So we can eliminate that out of the question. So instead, they took it from this image, and this image was from the Origins Part 1 episode. And you can tell here that, oh, this is definitely it, because this one has like the black bars versus the other green bars. So like I did before, I'm just gonna rasterize this layer, and then I'm just gonna take this out real quick, because, I mean, I'll definitely go in more detail later, but this is just for, you know, making it a little easy to see what we're doing here. So I'll just put this up here for now. Now this Gabriel hand took me forever to find. Now there have been a couple episodes where we have seen Gabriel take his Miraculous off, and a couple of those have been Queen Wasp. There was one during the Collector, and so I was like, okay, well, I looked through all those and didn't find it. So then I ended up going episode by episode looking for it, and I couldn't find it until I went back to season 2, because I was originally looking in season 3, and I knew for a fact it wasn't season 1. And finally, I found this image. I didn't even remember this was a thing, but this was from the episode Sandboy, and you can tell that this is the image because this has a little like red tint here, and this one also has a little red tint here. It's just more, it's just more dramatic over here. So yeah, you can definitely tell. If you, for some reason, weren't believing me that this original leak was fake, well, you should have all your proof now. So I'm gonna do what I did earlier and just do this thing again because it makes it easier to see what I'm doing. Now it is time to match the images up. So I'm gonna take this one, and it looks like the scale is already pretty good on this. Maybe I'll have to, okay, that looks pretty good. I like that. So next, let's go ahead and take this and place it on as well. So I'm actually going to turn that off, turn this off. And I'm gonna scale this up, and then let's actually turn down the opacity on this guy. Now you may notice that this is not fitting on very well, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is because they actually did some scaling proportions to make it look like Gabriel's actually holding it. Because you can see here that this actually looks pretty convincing. It looks like he actually has it in his hand, and it looks like it's resting up against his fingers, while this one is just a straight image. And it doesn't, like, if this is just here, it doesn't look like he's holding it. So that we will end up having to do that, but I'm actually going to remove the background before I do that. Now, speaking of removing the background, let's go ahead and actually do that. So I'm just going to take the eraser tool, and this is just so much easier with a graphics tablet. So thanks so much again, GAOMON, for sending this in. So I'm not going to show all of this, but you can see that it's just simply just erasing out the background, and it's not very hard to do, which is why there's so many of these fake leaks. It's just, sometimes if you want to make it look good, it's time consuming, which the majority of the leaks that fool people actually look pretty good. So they're actually doing a decent amount of tougher work, but this one wasn't made super well. So yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and took out the background of the Peacock Miraculous. Now, it's not perfect, but I wasn't really trying to make it perfect. It just has to be good enough. But we still have this issue that this is not laying like this one is. This one, it just doesn't look the same. So we are going to fix that. We're going to go ahead and use this and turn it a little bit to make it actually look like it's laying on its side a little bit. So we can just do some adjusting and, get it good enough. Again, I'm not trying to make it look like it's the exact same thing. Well, I guess I am, but I'm not trying to make it look, identical, just close enough. And you know what? I think that looks pretty good. So if we go ahead and turn this on and off, there we go. I would say that looks pretty accurate. Okay, so now comes the tedious task of taking out the background of this guy. Now, we might get away with just simply doing this. And that actually did pretty well. Not all the time does it do this well, but it actually did a decent job. So if I can get away with just that, that's what I'm gonna go with. And I might actually, let's see here. There's a little bit of excess here that I might want to adjust. But you know what? That did a pretty good job. Now, obviously it's not perfect. But for this stuff, I can just go like this and then remove it like that, see? So it is always good to try using the magic wand tool. It's not always going to be great, but for this time, it actually did really well. So good job, magic wand tool. Okay, so at this point, now you have come to realize that, well, these two don't look the same because they're colored differently. So all we have to do is go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast, and then we can just adjust the brightness on this a little bit, and the contrast looks more like this. Now it doesn't look, it definitely looks better. It's not the same because they may have used a different program, so their brightness and contrast may have looked a little bit different. They may have done some different stuff, but for the purpose of this, It actually, I mean, it's looking closer to being in the same sort of ballpark as far as it looking the same, and that's really what I'm trying to go for here. I'm just trying to make it look like these were taken in the same frame. So I'm just gonna keep messing with it and hope that I find some settings that looks good enough. I actually think that this version looks better than this. I'm gonna try messing with this some more, just to see if I can make it a little bit better. Here we go. Adjusting the blue channel on the curves makes it look a little more yellow, which is sort of what I'm going with, because this is being shown on by direct sunlight, while this is in Hawkmoth's like lair. So it doesn't have the same lighting, but if we make it look a little more yellow, that'll give it the impression that the sun was actually beating down on his hand. So already this looks a lot better, and I may have been diving too deep into this because it doesn't matter too much, but you know, I'm just an overachiever maybe. So already I'm thinking that this looks pretty good. If we actually go ahead and pull this up, now it's covering the whole thing. So this is the original, this is my recreation. Original, recreation. I think my version looks a little bit better actually, because the color on this one is a lot more red and it doesn't look like it fits in very well. But this one actually looks closer. It's not perfect, but it looks closer. So now really all that's left is just fitting this guy onto this hand. And before we do that actually, we have to sort of take this, and to do that, I'm gonna try doing this. See if, because we only really have to get the feather. So if we do a Command J on this, move it up here, and that worked pretty well. Now, thinking about it now, we actually have to do that for this feather. No, not feather. What, a wing? Is that what this is? I don't know. What is this? Okay, so then I'm gonna do Control J for that one, and there we go. So now it's covering that. Let's go ahead and take a look. So obviously there's a little bit of a difference here, but I mean, that's to be expected because two different people made this exact same image. Now, if I'm being honest, I think mine looks better, but I'll leave that up for you to decide. My Peacock Miraculous could have been a little bit better. The edges are kind of jaggy, it's not all even and whatnot, but like I said, I wasn't trying to make it perfect. I was just, you know, trying to recreate the leak, and I think I did that pretty well. Plus, their edges on their leak wasn't very good either, so, you know, kind of had to even it out, I guess. But yeah, I think that means that this leak is complete, so now let's go ahead and hop into the tablet review. Now, like I said earlier, this video is sponsored by GAOMON. Now, they went ahead and sent me in their PD2200, and it's freaking amazing. So as far as what you get, here's the box. This thing is huge. It's 21.5 inches, which for the price is really large, because I actually have a different tablet. This has replaced it because this one's by far superior, but it's around the same price. This one was like $50 more from when I first purchased it, but my other one is 16 inches, this one's 21.5, and I don't think I could ever go back after experiencing this large one. So this one, it's huge. It's almost bigger than I am, and I'm pretty big too. So it's amazing. Now I'd love to like hold it up more, but it's big, so I can't really do that. But this thing rotates. It has a bunch of different levels of rotation. So if you want it to go super low, this is it at its flattest state, and the stand's built in. The previous one that they sent in, there was no stand, but this one, the stand has come built in, and it's a really heavy duty stand. And you can adjust it. There's a whole bunch of different mechanics and stuff. So you can make it as tall or as, basically, you're never gonna need it this, you know, flat, but it's an option for you if you want it. So as far as what you get in the box, you get the tablet, the box, you get this has a drawing glove as well as some manuals, which is pretty standard, I'd say. And then you get this pen, and you get this little pen holder, so it just goes on like that. And actually inside this pen holder is actually more pen tips. So if you run out, you got extra. And then obviously you get cables. Let's see, can I show them off a little bit here? They're plugged in, so I can't really, you know, show them off. But there's also an extra wall adapter as well, so there's cables to plug into your computer as well as the wall, so just keep that in mind. And obviously this is not meant for travel use. GAOMON actually makes travel-based tablets. That was the last tablet that I reviewed. But this one is for people like me who sit at a desk all day and want just a tablet that sits on your desk permanently. And that's where this one sits. So yeah, very nice. Now let's go ahead and talk about some specs, shall we? Now this model they sent me is the PD2200. The resolution is 1920 by 1080, which is, monitor standard these days. The pen is battery free, so you don't have to worry about getting batteries or having to charge it. There is 8 customizable keys, so you can make them whatever you want. The screen display is 21.5 inches, which is really big for a graphics tablet. The pressure sensitivity is 8,192 levels, and there's a whole bunch more specs on here. I'll leave the link to this website down in the description below if you want more info, as well as just, Amazon links. Everything you need is down in the description below. But if you want to read up more on the specs, then you can go ahead and do that, but I think what I shared is mostly what you need to know. But yeah, like I said, this actually replaced my other tablet, and the reason why I like this one a whole lot more is because when you have the pen and you're drawing on here, the pen just glides so well on this one. On my other one, there was actually some parts on the tablet where it would, like, the resistance on the tablet was weird, so it was like I'd be drawing and I was like, oh, well, it's a little bit harder to move the pen at this, so it was inconsistent. This tablet has the same consistency all around, so it's just a whole lot smoother when you're actually drawing on it. And like I said earlier as well, the other tablet that I got, around the same price. Now this one's like $50 more, but when I first got the other one, they were the same price. So this one has the price of the mid-range, like a 16-inch tablet, but keep in mind this one's a 21.5-inch tablet. So this one has the budget of most lower or middle range tablets, but it has the size of a large tablet, so it's amazing. Plus this tablet has more options, so if you have just a basic monitor that has, like the buttons on the side or like a TV kind of things where you can adjust the physical brightness and a whole bunch of things, this also has those options, which my other tablet doesn't have either. So overall, this one's just a whole lot better than my other tablet. So if you're on the market for a mid-range tablet, then I would highly recommend this one, because through my experience, as far as the other tablet that I got, this one's far superior. Now, how do you know if you are in the market for one of these? Well, if you are more of a professional, or if you do a lot of art stuff, but you're not like a full-on professional, but you do it a lot, to where you don't want one of the small ones and you want a decently sized one, this tablet is going to do pretty well. So you just sort of have to know how much you're going to use it if you want a larger size. But if you want a larger size than a lot of the small basic tablets, then this one's definitely a good option. But yeah, thanks again to GAOMON for sending me this tablet. I absolutely love it. It is my main drawing driver whenever I need to draw stuff. So thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Goodbye.
It was your fault. Your fault. Your fault. Your fault.